Hi, this is Imran from Gaming Till Disconnected, and this is a review of the QPad 5K Pro Gaming Laser Mouse. Named the 5K due to the mouse's 5040 counts per inch. The 5K has been on the market for a good few years now, and is still only one of 3 mice from Swedish peripherals company, QPad. The most obvious feature of the 5K is its shape and size, measuring at a length of 125mm, a height of 42mm, and a width of 90mm from wing to wing. On the right of the mouse, where you'd usually find a drop in other mice, the QPad 5K extends outwards to make a rest for your ring finger and your little finger, allowing your entire palm to sit on the mouse so your 2 outer fingers don't drag along, as they may do with other mice. The large form factor takes a bit of time to get used to, depending on how you grip your mouse. To be honest, when I first started using this mouse, it did get a bit uncomfortable after the first few hours, but the more I used it, the less uncomfortable it became. Above the thumb rest, there are 2 of the 5 programmable buttons featured on the 5K. These 2 buttons are well placed, and their size makes them easy to get to, with the remaining 3 buttons being the left click, the right click, and the scroll wheel. There are also 2 more buttons which sit behind the scroll wheel. These are dedicated to changing the DPI settings to either a high or a low DPI, and nothing else. This is displayed by 2 indicator lights on the left hand side, illuminating either red or blue. By default, the red light indicates a high DPI setting, and the blue light indicates a low DPI setting. The QPad 5K has a plastic outer shell, which appears to be hollow inside, making the 5K extremely light. If you're used to a weighted mouse, no matter how little the weight, it can take a bit of time to adjust to the difference. The main body of the mouse is made up of a matte black plastic, with a sort of rubbery grip. Unfortunately, this does nothing if you're the sort to get sweaty hands. I also found the 5K was prone to greasy smudges, especially on the left click and the right click, basically anywhere your fingers touch. This isn't going to be a problem for most normal, well-adjusted people, but for someone who's easily annoyed by the smallest mark, this may be highly annoying, as the 5K isn't the easiest thing to clean. But anyway, like I said, for most people this isn't going to be an issue. As with any customizable mouse, the 5K is accompanied with software to adjust the DPI, polling rates, configure buttons, and record macros. The DPI ranges from 90 to 5040 and can be adjusted for both the X and the Y axis. This is done by using the sliders, but I found this method a bit annoying, as it can be a bit fiddly to match both sliders if you want the DPI to be consistent on both axes. With the polling rate, you have the option to change to either 125Hz, 250Hz, 500Hz, or 1000Hz. The software, although it looks attractive and is relatively simple to use, is something I think could have been done better. The pre-configured commands for the 5 buttons are quite limited, unless you use macros, but creating macros can be quite tricky and annoying. The macro creation system is extremely frustrating. To create a macro, select the macro tab, then click Begin Input Key Sequence, and press the keys you want, provided it's 5 or less keys, so if you want to do long and complex macros, you can forget about it. The problem is that there is no way to tell if your key presses are actually registering or not. I initially thought my key presses would show up in the dialog box above the Begin Input Key Sequence button, but either it doesn't work or it's just there to look pretty. This, if you can imagine, became extremely frustrating and led me to believe that this part of the software was broken. I also couldn't find a way to save macros to use later, so once you've created a macro, you have to assign it to a button straight away and pray it recorded correctly. There's also no way to make multiple profiles for different games, so if you want to assign different actions to buttons, you'll have to do so as and when needed. Since QPad first released the 5K, it's been a few years and mice are getting better and better. And I'm not saying the 5K is a bad mouse, but it lacks some features one may get with current generation of mice. That being said, if you haven't upgraded your mouse in the last few years, then the 5K may be satisfactory, but if you're getting this after a high-end mouse from another company, you may find it lacks some of the bells and whistles you're used to. Ultimately, it falls down to what you're personally used to and what you want. If you want a mouse to perform complex macros and functions, this may not be the mouse for you. However, if you want a mouse that works flawlessly, which also features a high DPI, high polling rate, and an easy-to-use software, then the QPad 5K may be worth a look. Thanks for checking out our review. If you like this video, then please give this video a like, it really helps us out, and subscribe to Gaming Till Disconnected for more tech reviews.